Yo, what's up guys, it's your boy Sami here. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto was disciple of the Elder God, part 1. Hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start, please subscribe to our channel, and like this video. So let's get into the video. The date was October 10th. The setting, Konohagakure no Sato, the village hidden in the leaves. It was 9 years after the attack of the mighty Kyuubi no Kitsune upon the village. The Kyuubi was one of the 9 Biju, the most powerful creatures in existence. With a swing of its 9 tails, it could topple cities, demolish mountains, and create raging tsunamis. 9 years ago, the Kyuubi had attacked the village, killing many shinobi. The village's leader, the Yondaime Hokage, Minato Namikaze, and his wife, Kushina Uzumaki, had just had their only child, Naruto Uzumaki, delivered to them on that fateful day, 9 years ago. As the Kyuubi descended upon the village, Minato Namikaze was rushing to create a plan to defeat it. Unfortunately, he could only find one solution. He had to seal the Kyuubi into his own child at the cost of his life. So, Minato took his child from its mother with a somber frown. Upon making his way to the battlefield, he summoned the Shinigami, who sealed the beast into Naruto, while taking Minato's soul at the same time. Thus, Naruto Uzumaki became the Kyuubi no Kitsune. 9 years from then, on this very day, Naruto was being chased by a mob which had formed to finish what the Yondaime had started, and end the boy's life once and for all, thinking he was the demon itself. It was this scene that Kami herself was watching with a frown from up in the heavens. The boy had more assassination attempts on him in the first 9 years of his life than the first generation of all the Kages put together. As she watched this happen with a sigh, Kami wished that she could do something, but it was not to her jurisdiction. She had to receive permission from the only deity higher than herself. Opposite to what many people thought, Kami was actually not the highest deity in existence. There was only one above her, and he was the one who had created time, space, and even life itself. This deity was the one who gave permission to every god and goddess for their jobs when they had to do them, and only intervened when he found it necessary. Kami sighed again, as she wished she could help the young blonde. Fortunately for her, the chance had arrived. "Kami-sama, your presence is requested by the High Lord." A meek voice spoke. She turned to see one of the High Lord's angel messengers facing her. "Tell him I will be there right away," she told the angel. It nodded and disappeared. Almost immediately after, Kami did so, as well. She reappeared inside a white and gold courtroom which had marble statues of all the deities beside each pillar that held it up. "Come forth, Kami. I wish to see you." A deep voice rang out. Kami walked through a pair of massive doors and entered a room where only one individual sat on a throne of pure matter. This was the High Lord, the only deity above herself. "Yes, High Lord?" she questioned. "First of all, Kami-chan, I told you to stop calling me High Lord. Just calling me Jinso or Jinso-kun will do." The individual spoke with an annoyed sigh. He knew that Kami did this just to annoy him. Jinso had hair the color of dark chocolate and blue-green-gray eyes that seemed as though they were endless. Whenever he got angry, Jinso's eyes turned a mix of blood red and amber. It was an unusual combo that stunned Kami and yet turned her on at the same time. His skin had a natural tan to it, and despite not having a 6-pack or an 8-pack, his body was toned and built like an athlete. Despite being as old as time itself, Jinso chose to take the form of a 16-year-old boy for some reason. Needless to say, even Kami had to refrain from jumping him. "Fine, Jinso-kun," Kami replied with a rebellious teenager sigh. "Second, I noticed that you were watching a boy named Naruto Uzumaki." "I was, sir. I just cannot believe how much pain and anguish that boy has gone through, and would do anything to make it better for him," she said. Jinso nodded. "That is exactly why I have called you here. For the first time in a million years, I am going to show myself to the planet once more." "But sir, didn't you say you would only intervene if you saw fit?" Kami asked with an audible gasp. Jinso nodded again. "And I see a big reason to intervene. This boy's suffering has gone on too long. I dare say that he has a heart possibly purer than my own, as he has not turned on those wretched infidels, only because there are a few people in the village that are actually precious to him." Jinso stood up out of his chair. "Come with me, Kami. It is time to set things straight." With that, the two disappeared in a column of light that stretched far into the sky, letting all the angels and good souls know that shit was about to get real. Down on Earth, Naruto Uzumaki was not having a good day. First, he tore his pants on an open nail, causing a hole to rip in the crotch area. Then, he fell in a mud puddle while walking to Ichiraku's. Next, when the boy got to his favorite ramen stand in the whole world, he found out that Am-chan was sick, so Tsuchi-jiji had to close the stand for a few days and take care of her. Finally, he got chased by an angry mob into the alleyway he was currently in. They each took turns beating him and crushing his little body. Yet he did not cry. Naruto had learned from an early age that crying only egged the crowd on, and thus made the beatings far worse than normal. So he held in all his tears, as they pummeling him. They had broken the boy's hands and feet with hammers, so he couldn't run away or pull any demon tricks. One drunken villager had bashed him over the head with a sake bottle, causing glass shards to embed themselves in his scalp. Then some of the mob had taken turns stomping on his frail body and breaking some of his ribs. The last thing they did before preparing to kill him was take a rusty kunai and carved it deep into his 6 whisker marks. Then, the leader raised his arm, kunai in hand. I guess this is it. See you in the afterlife, Tsuchi Jiji, Aim-chan. Hokage Jiji Naruto closed his eyes and prepared for his death. However, he didn't feel any pain. What happened? Am I dead? The little boy opened his eyes to see a chocolate-haired teen standing over him, his tan hand gripping the arm of the man who was about to kill him. What are you doing, boy? Step aside so we can kill this demon. A civilian genin in his 40s yelled. You mongrels will not lay a hand upon this boy. The teen spoke, authority dripping from his voice. His voice made Naruto shudder in awe. This teen was radiating more power than what the Kyuubi had at full strength, if what he was told in the academy was true. The whiskered blonde then felt himself being lifted up and pressed against the bosom of a silvered-haired woman. Who are you? He asked her. The woman looked deep into his cerulean orbs and replied, My name is Kami, Naruto-kun. Don't worry, they won't hurt you anymore. The blonde immediately felt a warm aura surrounding him and fell asleep, a comforted smile on his face. Kami set him on the ground just as Jinso turned to her. Go find the Hokage. I'll deal with them. Kami nodded and ran off in search of the Hokage. What's wrong with you? Stop protecting that demon and let us kill it. Another villager shouted. Jinso turned his gaze back to them. That boy is no more a demon than Satan is the ruler of the heavens. You all are the real demons. Jinso then drew a golden katana from his back. He twirled it around and got into his stance. And I make sure to send you to hell. With the Hokage en route to Jinso's location, Garrison Sarutobi had just finished his paperwork for the day when he felt an incredible surge of power coming from the middle of the village. He could feel the raw anger inside it spread all over the village. Is that Kyuubi's power? No, that doesn't have the same amount of bloodlust in it as Kyuubi's. Oh, Naruto-kun, I hope you're alright. Hiruzen had called 3 squads of Anbu to follow him, and he donned his battle gear. Then they had begun making their way to the spot where the surge was felt. About halfway there, they were stopped by a silver-haired woman of ethereal beauty. Hokage-sama, it's Naruto Uzumaki. I need you to follow me. No time to explain. The Hokage's eyes widened as he nodded and began following the woman. What he saw when he arrived shocked him. A chocolate-haired teen was standing in the middle of the scene of a massacre, covered in blood, and holding his sword, as equally bloody as him. Dead civilians littered the ground. Hiruzen's eyes softened when he saw that Naruto was sleeping on the ground behind the teen with a smile on his face. The teen turned and faced the Hokage. Are you the leader of this village? The teen questioned authority in his tone. Somehow, it made everyone there get the feeling that they should be on their knees, bowing. Yes, I am. And who might you be? The teen closed his eyes and flicked the blood off of his blade before sheathing it onto his back. I will not tell you my name in front of Anbu of yours, for they have not earned my respect. You have, but they have not. Especially the one known as Inu. The Hokage and all the Anbu looked shocked. The only other people in this village that have earned my respect are the young Uzumaki here, and the people that truly helped him. The rest may burn for all I care. One of the Anbu, who was wearing a cane turtle mask, suddenly shouted out at him. Hey, how dare you speak to the Hokage and us that way? We deserve to know. The teen turned his head to the Anbu with a growl, his eyes turning a mix of blood red and amber, which frightened everyone but Kami and Naruto, who was sleeping at the time. Silence your tongue, mortal, or I shall be quick to cut it off. He snarled. The teen's eyes then turned back to their natural color. Hokage-san, I would like to meet with you in private to discuss the young Uzumaki. The Hokage nodded and told the Anbu to back off. Kami grabbed Naruto, and the four went to the Hokage tower. Hokage's office. Now, what would you like to discuss? I still cannot tell you my name. Jinso suddenly replied. But why not? We are in private right now. Hiruzen looked confused. Jinso got up and walked over to a corner. Danzo-san, I know you are listening. And I would just like to say, your end will be soon, along with that of Roots. With that, Jinso tore a seal off the wall that had been disguised to look like wallpaper. He also tore off 5 other listening seals before sitting back down. How Hiruzen was at a loss for words for once in his lifetime. I know Hiruzen Sarutobi. And my name is Jinso. Thank you for telling me that. Also, who is she? He asked, pointing to the silver-haired woman who was currently holding Naruto to her chest like a protective mother would do. The blonde simply snuggled into her ample bosom. She is known to you humans as Kami. The old Sarutobi's eyes nearly bugged out of his skull. Kami, he shouted. Hiruzen was glad he put up a silencing seal around the room, or else all of Konoha would have heard his shout. Yep, that's me, Kami exclaimed. She then jerked her thumb at Jinso. And that's my senpai. Hiruzen's eyes once more nearly burst from his skull. Senpai? His eyes darted back and forth between the two. I am indeed Kami's senpai, so to speak. My name is indeed Jinso, and only those who I have given permission to are allowed to speak my name, otherwise, they burst into flames and die. Jinso senpai was the one who created time, space, and even life. Jinso nodded. Aside from that, I wish to talk to you about Naruto Uzumaki. I have observed his life so far along with Kami, and I am severely disappointed with this village. This boy has endured more pain in his life than all the tortured souls in hell combined. Thus, he has my respect and admiration. Not to be rude, Jinso-sama, but why are you telling me this? Jinso seemed to smirk for a moment. I am telling you this because I wish to give the boy a gift. A gift? Jinso nodded. Not just any gift. I am going to give him what you humans call a Kekkei Genkai, among other things. The bloodline. Along with that, I will give the boy some other things to help him in his life. But with this, I ask a favor of you. Hiruzen made a mental note to double up on his meds. The god was asking him to do a favor for him. I wish for you to shape up this village. You have been letting the civilian council gain too much sway in the village. In fact, if it were not for the boy having precious people in this village, I would have rained brimstone and fired upon it after only a month. Grow a backbone, Hiruzen Sarutobi. This village is a fucking military dictatorship. It is not a democracy. You make the rules, and the villagers follow them. Now shape up, and fix this disgrace to the shinobi name that you call a village. Jinso roared, pounding his fist on the desk, and breaking it into splinters. Unfortunately, this woke Naruto up. Where am I? Am I dead? Naruto asked, as he groggily stared at the ceiling. You're not dead, Naruto-kun. You're very much alive. Came the voice of the silver-haired woman he met before. He looked up, and saw her beautiful smiling face. Suddenly, the little boy's eyes grew very big. Yakami, he exclaimed, as he jumped out of her arms. The boy got ready to bow when Jinso stopped him. You do not need to bow, my boy. If anything, I should be bowing to you for all that you have endured. The whisker-marked blonde turned to see his chocolate-haired savior. Who are you? You look a bit young to be killing a bunch of people. Naruto commented, surprising them with how calm he was, when most kids would have scrambled into the corner of the room after seeing someone massacre a group. Hiruzen got a bit worried, as Naruto didn't know that this was an age-old god he was speaking to. Instead, Jinso let out a laugh that sounded like a tower bell ringing. My name is Jinso, my whiskered friend. And would you be surprised if I told you that I was actually a god, as old as time who created life itself? Naruto pondered for a moment. Well, most people would say that you were bluffing, but seeing as how we're able to make elements out of thin air, and that I have a 200-foot-tall demon sealed in my gut, I'd say it's a fair chance. That shocked Hiruzen. Naruto-kun, you already know about the Kyuubi. Naruto nodded. Hi, Gigi. I met Rika-chan a year ago when I fainted during a beating. Hiruzen's mind went blank for about 3 seconds before he shouted, it's a she. Jinso then laughed again. Of course Kyuubi is a she. Why are humans so sexist when it comes to beings of great power, and always thinking that said beings must be male for some reason? He replied. But other than that, Hokage-san, fix your village or else there will be hell to pay. The Hokage nodded, getting the hidden message. Jinso turned to Naruto. Naruto-kun, I wish for you to come with me for a moment. I have a few gifts for you. Naruto started bouncing up and down. Despite being very mature for a 9-year-old, he, like every kid, got excited at the mention of presents. Gifts? Really? Jinso nodded. The brown-haired teen turned to Hiruzen. I will be back with him in 30 minutes. Please call one of your what is called council meetings, as there is a topic I wish to discuss. Hiruzen nodded. I will do that. The elderly Sarutobi got on one knee to speak to Naruto. I want you to have fun with Jinso, alright, Naruto-kun. Hi. We're gonna have lots of fun, right Jinso-nai? Jinso chuckled. Despite being a god, it was good to not have every person address him with an honorific of high authority or demand people respect him. Yes, we are, Naruto-kun. Then he, Kami, and Naruto disappeared in a flash. Jinso's throne room, up in the heavens, Barry appeared inside what looked to be a teen's bedroom. The walls were colored a sandy brown, and the ceiling was light gray. There was a plasma screen TV hanging on the wall, and a GameCube, Y, and PS3 were hooked up to it. Facing the TV was a long black leather couch that was shaped like a U. A plain bed was in one corner of the room, and a black metal desk with shelves was near it, and was covered in papers, pencils, pens, scissors, what appeared to be a Glock 19, and a tanto hung up on the wall. Whoa, is this your room, Nai-san? Jinso grinned. Yes, it is, Naruto-kun. This is where I go when I wish to relax or simply play a few video games. What's a video game? Naruto asked in childish wonder. Jinso led him over to the TV. Well, I can't really explain it in all my infinite wisdom, but how about I show you? Naruto nodded excitedly. Jinso went over to his GameCube and started The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. Naruto's eyes grew wide in awe. Then Jinso started going around on Epona, firing arrows at bokoblins and kangaroos, and then transforming into a wolf, making Naruto let out a double rainbow guy-style whoa. Then Jinso saved his game and powered down the GameCube. That was awesome, Nai-san. May I try? Jinso chuckled. I would let you, but we have to get back to Konoha for a council meeting, so we don't have the time. I can give you your gifts, however. Jinso walked over to the wall and pulled the tanto off, making it grow to the length of a standard katana. This is my prize blade, Naruto-kun. It can turn into any weapon you desire, and the only limit is your imagination. Naruto took the blade from Jinso with trembling hands. Also, I've modified it a little so that you can stick it onto your back and take it off with a mental push. And, as an added bonus, you can give a different mental push to make it become a certain element. Go ahead, test it out. Jinso and Kami stepped back and watched Naruto swing the blade around with natural talent. When he was done, Kami said, "Amazing, Naruto-kun. You're a natural at swordsmanship." Naruto blushed from the praise. "Next, I have an even more special gift for you." He put 2 fingers into his mouth and whistled. Almost immediately, a black blur appeared and landed on top of Naruto, licking his face. It turned out to be a fox kid with 3 tails. This is your own personal companion. She is a 3-tailed kitsune and loves pranks. However, she doesn't have a name yet. Would you like to give her one? Naruto nodded, having stood up and held the kid, who was now asleep, in his arms. "I'll call her Megumi, cause you know, it's a blessing that you're giving her to me, Nai-san." Naruto replied, giving a fox-like smile that made Kami glomp him with a squeal of "Kawaii." The goddess began stroking his whisker marks, making Naruto purr. "Alright, Kami-chan, enough hugging. I wish to give Naruto his 2 final gifts." Kami reluctantly got off of the blonde, and Jinso knelt down, so he was eye level with Naruto. "Naruto-kun, what do you know of Kekkei Genkai?" The blonde put a hand up to his chin in a thinking pose. "Well, I know that Sasuke team has one, and everyone fawns over him for it. He also keeps repeating that nothing can beat the Sharingan, and that it makes him an elite, above everyone else. Personally, I don't see why it makes him a so-called elite. It just changes his abilities a little, right?" "Well, you're half right. It does change one's abilities. However, each bloodline is different, and does different things. The Sharingan allows Sasuke-san to copy hand seals for ninjutsu, and also lets him see through any, except for the Mangekyo Sharingan. It also lets him cast on a person by looking them in the eye when it's active. Only a person with the Sharingan can break out of a Sharingan, so it really does make him an elite." "Not exactly. See, bloodlines tend to make people like Sasuke a bit arrogant. That just means they'll be a bit overconfident sometimes in battle. However, Sasuke's case is different. He was actually a nice kid before his family was massacred. Then the civilians and the civilian council started raising him up on a golden pedestal and essentially put his ego on steroids. Now he probably thinks he can win any fight and that everyone will do what says just because he's an Uchiha." Jinso turned away from Naruto. "Now, Naruto-kun, if, hypothetically speaking, I were to give you a bloodline, would you become arrogant with it?" Naruto shook his head in a frenzied no. "No way, Nai-san. I know I can't win every battle, despite having Rika-chans in me, and even then if I were to have a bloodline. I just gotta train harder if I do lose." Jinso gave a satisfied nod. "Well, good, Naruto-kun, because that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a bloodline of your own. Now remember, don't become arrogant with it." Naruto nodded. "Okay, Nai-san, but what does it do?" "Well, Naruto-kun, your bloodline would essentially allow you to manipulate shadows themselves. Like the lazy pineapple-haired people." Jinso laughed. "Sort of. See, the Naras manipulate shadows with their own chakra. However, this bloodline will essentially put a bit of shadow energy into your own DNA, causing you to be able to move them around without chakra. You will just have to sense the shadows all around you, and focus on linking your energy with their own. It's a one-time thing, so once you've successfully connected with one shadow, you'll be able to connect any, and all the shadows around you at any time." "Sugoi!" Naruto yelled. "Now, then, this will hurt a little bit, but it'll be over quickly." Jinso tapped 2 fingers to Naruto's forehead, and infused a bit of shadow energy in Naruto's genes, altering them a tiny bit to create a new bloodline. The blonde held in a scream, as the process shortly ended. "Now for your last gift." Jinso pulled a large scroll out of thin air. "Naruto, this is the summoning contract for the dragons. No one before you has signed this, as I was saving it for someone with a heart as pure as I. Now, bite your finger, and sign your name in blood. Then put a handprint of blood next to your name." Naruto did as he was told, and his name glowed when he finished. "Now, when you summon the boss dragon, Bahamut, you must not be afraid. Dragons are the living embodiment of courage, and to pass his test, you must stand up to him. Otherwise, he will try to kill you with fire. Lots of fire. Understand?" Naruto nodded, a little bit worried. "Well, now that that's out of the way, what do you say we go visit the Hokage again?" The blonde smiled at that. Jinso called forth a dragon summon, and helped Naruto onto his back. The 3 then soared down to Konoha, with Naruto cheering the entire way. "Council room, what is the holdup, Hokage-sama?" "I got out of bed at 11 o'clock, and would like to get back to sleep," a fat blob of a civilian councilman said with a yawn. Hiruzen grew a pulsing vein on his head. "I'm sure our last 2 remaining people will be here in a minute," he said, grinding his teeth. "If you don't mind my asking, Hokage-sama, why are we still waiting? All the council members are present. It would be illogical to continue waiting," Shibi stated, fixing his glasses. Well, Hiruzen was interrupted by Naruto's cry of "Woohoo!" Crash. The large red dragon crashed through the ceiling, and its passengers fell onto the floor. The first of the two to get up was a chocolate-haired teen with blue-green. Akira, I told you to land on the roof, not go through the roof. Jinso's voice said. The dragon merely replied, sorry about that. Over there kept tugging at my ear, and I lost my balance. With that, the dragon known as Akira reverse summoned itself. Well, it seems as if our two guests have arrived after all. Did you have fun, Naruto-kun? The council members looked to see Naruto standing beside a chocolate-haired teen with blue-green gray eyes. Considering I got to ride a dragon and crash it through a building, what do you think, Gigi? Naruto asked whether you're damn right I did. Look. You better have had fun, cause I'm probably gonna get yelled at for destroying the roof of this building. Jinso berated. He then looked to see the entire council, both civilian and shinobi, staring at him. The brunette simply decided to pull a Kakashi. Yo? He said, putting his hand up lazily with two fingers forming a V, and even forming a weird eye smile with both eyes. The result. All the civilian and shinobi council members' face folded except for Hiruzen. Yo? You destroyed the roof of this building, and all you can say is yo. A pink-haired banshee in need of anger management classes shrieked. Naruto had to cover Megumi's ears to protect the kid from permanent brain damage. Jinso grabbed the hilt of his sword and barely drew it out of its sheath. A flash of light signaled that he had moved it, as well as the chink of the hilt connecting with the sheath. He pointed above the civilian council members. Please read that message on the wall, as it states my only rule. All the council members looked up to see 4 words sliced into the wall with perfect calligraphy. Don't fuck with me, got it? He asked, making his voice sound a bit more demonic. Now, Jae-san, I believe you have something you wish to discuss. Hiruzen drew their attention back to the meeting. Jinso nodded. You're damn right I do. He replied, shocking everyone. I have seen the 9 years of this boy's life, and it infuriated me that most of this village would stoop so low as to harm a child. He has had more assassination attempts in the first 9 years of his life than most of the numerous Kages ever had in all their careers combined. I have had enough of you people. From now on, this child is under my protection. If anyone tries to harm him, Jinso snaps his fingers, and a training dummy appears. He grasped the handle of his katana, and another flash of light signified that he had moved it. Upon the click of the held meeting sheath, the training dummy exploded in a shower of weighted sand. Get the picture? Most of them were shocked. They had barely seen the teen move, and yet, he perfectly performed an Iedo strike twice in a row. However, one moronic blob of the civilian council decided to pipe up. How dare you threaten the council? We could have you executed publicly. Jinso then began laughing wildly, almost as if mocking him. The only way that could happen is if I lived in this village. This place is not my home, you moronic pile of horseshit. The god replied. And if you pathetic little weaklings on the civilian council ever threaten me, Naruto-kun, or this woman over here, Jinso let out a blast of kai so great that most of the civilian council pissed and shit their pants, and then fainted. The ones who didn't were the ones who had retired from the shinobi business, and somehow, the only ones on the civilian side of the council left standing were all people who liked Naruto and helped him. The shinobi council members were having a hard time breathing, as it felt like the air was being stolen from their lungs. Even Hiruzen, the Kami no shinobi, was feeling lightheaded. Jinso then stopped the flow of kai, and turned to the shinobi council. Sorry about that. All the morons in the civilian council just really annoyed me. Most of them were shocked once more. He could produce that much kai when he was merely annoyed. And I know that you're thinking that it's unreal for someone to produce that much kai when they're only annoyed. Let's just say if I were pissed off, at least half of this village would be 6 feet under from my anger alone. He then sheepishly rubbed the back of his head with a goofy smile. Thump. Anoichi had just fainted. Then, why don't you stay in this village? Logic dictates that if you cared about Naruto Uzumaki, you would stay with him to ensure his safety. Shibi asked. Jinso gave a mischievous grin. I never said I wasn't staying in the village, now did I? He turned to the Hokage. Hokage-san, could I simply spar with it to see my placement? Hiruzen nodded. I'll have you and one of our spar tomorrow morning, seeing as you are obviously above genin and level. Jinso nodded. Will do. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to go to sleep. With that, he, Kami, and Naruto all left the council room. Silence followed for about 3 minutes before Shikaku said, this is too damn troublesome, with the trio. So, Naruto, do you want to stay at your apartment for the night? I could probably find us a house to stay in. Naruto nodded. Yeah. I don't really have the money to rent a new apartment, plus, people raise the price by 3 times the original amount whenever I try to buy. Kami held Naruto closer to her, as people began glaring at the blonde and Jinso, while giving lecherous looks to Kami. Jinso then cast no seals around them, so people would only see Mido Guy walking with Lee, while both were in speedos. Needless to say, screams of horror filled the air while Jinso chuckled mischievously. The next morning, Naruto got up to see Kami cooking something, while Jinso sat at his table with a cup of coffee. Morning, little bro. Hope you slept well. The god told him. Yeah, I did, Nai-san. Better than I've slept in a long time. Lucky for you, you got up just in time for breakfast. Kami said happily, as she set a plate of bacon, eggs, pancakes, and orange juice down for the boy. The blonde quickly wolfed down his food before checking the clock. "Aw, crap. I'm gonna be late for class," he exclaimed. Jinso set the newspaper he had been reading down. "Not a problem, little bro." The brunette put a hand on Naruto's shoulder and walked the boy to right in front of the academy, surprising many of those who had been around them. "Whoa, that was so cool, Nai-san," the blonde exclaimed. Jinso nodded, but not before noticing the glares directed at the blonde. "Now remember, don't take shit from anybody, and give him hell, squirt." Naruto scowled at him. "Stop calling me a squirt. I'll stop calling you a squirt when you actually get to my height. Jana." Jinso immediately walked out, leaving Naruto to walk into the academy. The blonde had recently gotten a change of clothes, and Jinso had burned the orange jumpsuit that rivaled Mido Guy's spandex of youth, and all the other sets of it that Naruto had. He was now wearing a white hakama with gold trimmings over a black kimono that had silver trimmings. The kimono had the kanji for Kitsune on it. The tanto that Jinso had given him was stuck to his back in the form of an injado. Underneath, Naruto was wearing the same type of sandals that Jiraiya of the Sannin wore. The outfit only accentuated his whiskers marks. Also, in addition to his bloodline, Jinso had made Naruto taller and fit like himself. He was built like an athlete and had a natural tan. Naruto had lost all baby fat and had become what Jinso described as a lady killer, whatever the hell that was. Deciding to make a cool entrance, Naruto powered chakra to his foot and kicked it in, sending it flying against the opposite wall. This gained the attention of everyone in the classroom. As Naruto walked in, he gained lustful stares from almost every girl in the classroom, who apparently didn't know who he was. "Are you a new student here?" Kiba Onizuka asked. Despite his interest in the new person, he still wondered where Naruto was. It had been a couple of days since anyone had last seen the blonde. The two became friends after Naruto had helped Kiba get Akamaru to the vet for rabies shots. "Come on, dog breath, don't you recognize me, Tebeo?" The eyes of every person in the room bulged. Then Naruto. Upon that realization, one Hyuga heiress in the back of the room gained a mean nosebleed and fainted. "Of course it's me. Who the hell do you think I was, Shotame?" the blonde remarked casually. He simply began making his way to the back of the room to hang out with Hinata, the girl he actually loved, when he was stopped by a UFO, an unidentified pink flat-chested object. "Naruto Baka, stop trying to show up, Sasuke-kun." The pink-haired bi-air girl known as Sakura Haruno shrieked. She then raised her fist and tried to punch the blonde. Thump. Her fist was caught directly in the blonde's palm while his sword was at her neck. "Sakura-san, if you try to punch me again, I will not only not hesitate to break the hand you attempt with, but I might also do some more damage," he told her, squeezing it for emphasis while taking his sword away from her neck. The girl began to immediately cry like a pussy. He then made his way to the back of the room and sat next to Hinata, who had regained consciousness. "Yo, Hinata-chan. What's up?" he asked happily. "Nothing much, Naruto-kun," the Hyuga heiress stuttered. "Naruto-kun probably noticed that I'm stuttering, and now he must think I'm weak," the girl suddenly began to think. Her father had been strict in her training, but on the inside, he wished he would be able to show her kindness. However, the Hyuga elders said that if she remained weak, they would give her the caged bird seal and put her in the branch family. Hinata was so deep in her thoughts that she hadn't noticed Naruto putting his face closer to hers. "You know, Hinata-chan, that broke her out of her thoughts to see his face right in front of hers. That blush of yours makes you look so damn adorable." That made the girl let out an eep and tried to hide inside her coat. "Naruto-kun said I was adorable. Now I just gotta kidnap him, take him away," and then Hinata's thoughts begin trailing down a different path as blood drips from her nose. Naruto was busy watching Hinata and didn't notice Sasuke coming up to him. "Hey, Naruto, where'd you get the sword?" Sasuke asked in actual interest as he sat down beside the blonde. You see, he used to be a douche. But then Jinso suddenly appeared and showed him just what would happen if he went down the path of an Avenger. That changed Sasuke. "It was a gift from my Nai-san. Do you like it?" "Yeah, it looks pretty cool." They were both interrupted by a shriek from Sakura. "Naruto Baka, stop trying to be cool. Everyone knows that you're just a worthless orphan who's unworthy of being loved and has no family. Your mother was probably a street whore who got pregnant off your dad and died from an STD while he left and never came back." Everyone stopped what they were doing and stared at Naruto, who seemed calm. Too calm. Sasuke facepalmed. Why did Kami have to curse him with these horrid fangirls? Ichigo looked to his right to see Naruto with a blank expression. Shit, he must be really mad to not show any emotion. Must refrain from killing. Must refrain from carving her guts out and selling them to a butcher shop. The blonde raged inside his head. "Naruto-kun, I say screw the rules and just kill the girl now," Rika told him from his mindscape. He was about to do it when Jinso's voice appeared in his head. "Hey, little bro, guess what? They decided that even though I'm way above level, I may and just need experience to be promoted. I'm also teaching your class with Iruka. Isn't that sweet? Kind of in a tough situation, Nai-san." I'm trying not to kill Sakura Waruno cause she said my Ka-san was probably a street whore, and that I'm just a bastard child. Hang on, kid. I'm about to enter in 3 2 1. A brown blur somersaulted in through the window, and landed on top of the teacher's desk right as Iruka walked in, nearly giving this guard a heart attack. Listen up, brats. My name is Kiji Uzumaki, also known as the brother of Naruto Uzumaki. You refer to me as Kiji-sensei or Uzumaki-sensei. Now, I only have 3 rules, so pay attention. First rule, I will curse all I want, and I don't give a damn who says otherwise. Rule 2, any disobedience will be dealt with immediately, and with more than a slap on the wrist. And Rule 3, if anyone harasses my bro, there will be punishment. Better whip out your notebooks, kiddies. School's now in session. Jinso shouted. Iruka had recovered from his pseudo-heart attack, and turned to the class. Well, it seems the introductions are over. Now then Iruka was interrupted by a shriek from Sakura. You threatened my mother yesterday. She yelled, pointing at Jinso. She annoyed me. I responded. End of story. Now pay attention to Iruka-sensei. He replied with a twitching eyebrow. Iruka coughed. Thank you, Kiji-sensei. Now then, before we start, are there any questions for Kiji-sensei? Chouji Akimichi raised his hand. Yeah, how are you a teacher? You don't look old enough to be one. The boy asked. Jinso nodded. Good question. Technically, you don't have to just be a certain age to be a teacher. You really just have to be a Shikamaru. Nara raised his hand. You, pineapple head. As a follow-up to Chouji's question, how are you? Jinso chuckled. This is how Jinso faced the wall, and grasped the handle of his sword. Everyone immediately focused on him. A flash of light signaled movement, and before they knew it, they already heard the click of Jinso resheathing his sword. Parts of the wall fell off to reveal a short sentence. Feel promotion, bitch. Jinso turned back to the class. That answers your question. Shikamaru just put his head on the desk, mumbling about troublesome blondes, and their crazy brothers. Now then, if there are no more questions, let's begin the lesson. Jinso said with a crazy smile. Time skipped 3 years. It was now the day of team placements. Throughout the 3 years of the academy that had passed, the students had been taught a number of things, and faced entirely new experiences. Of course it always came with some trouble, and different events. One such event was that he was going to be promoted at the end of this last academy year. I'm not going to do the graduation test because you know that I just have Naruto use KBs instead of regular bunchins. Additional. The rookie 9 all passed. Alright, here are your teams. Naruto just laid his head down on the desk, and waited for his name to be called. Team 7, Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke, and Hyuga Hinata. Multiple shrieks appeared all over the room from Sasuke's fan club. Why couldn't I have been with Sasuke-kun? I bet that Hyuga hussy is just trying to get in Sasuke-kun's pants. Naruto turned, and glared at the one who said that, brandishing the tanto Jinso had given him in the form of a massive claymore. You wanna say that again, you fuckface skank? He growled out. Ahem. Everyone turned to see Jinso with his hand in front of his mouth. Now then your team will be taught by Hada Kakashi. Team 8, Inizuka Kiba, Aburam Shino, and Waruno Sakura. I am not a whore, you jerk. Excuse me, I coughed a little when I said that. Naruto and Sasuke smirked at the back of the room, knowing he actually did call her a whore. Your sensei will be Yuhi Kurenai. Team 9 is still in circulation from last year, so Team 10 will be Yamanaka Ino, Akimichi Chouji, and Nara Shikamaru. Your sensei will be Sarutobi Asuma. Please wait for your team senseis to arrive here. Jinso then gave a peace sign with his hand, and with a loud shout of Jana. He threw a flash bomb down, and disappeared. 3 hours later, where the hell is our sensei? Sasuke yelled. Everyone else had already left the building, and they were the only ones left. The 3 were sitting on a row of desks right beside each other, and Hinata was leaning her head on Naruto's shoulder. Said whiskered blonde began tapping his finger to his chin. If I remember correctly, Nai-sen said to wait 3 hours, leave a note for our sensei and a trap and then go to the roof. Something about him being a major perv, and always showing up late, as fuck. He replied. So then Naruto got out a slip of paper, wrote down a message, and the 3 left to go to the academy roof. 1 minute later, a man with silver, gravity-defying hair stepped into the room. Seeing no one there, he looked around. Then Kakashi spotted a note on the floor. Iro Scarecrow, look behind you. Team 7, PS. We're on the roof. Look behind me. What the oh shit. Kakashi had to dodge a hail of flaming and sparking kunai before moving over an 8x format of spikes, and finally leaping out the window to avoid a lightning bolt that crashed down where he used to be. Are they crazy? That could have actually killed me. Kakashi mentally shouted. He then shunshined up to the roof only to find Team 7 playing poker. Of course, he then fast-defaulted onto the ground. Oh, good. Sensei's here. Naruto remarked while not looking away from the poker game. Kakashi got up slowly, his eyebrow twitching. The silver-haired Cyclops then used the demon head technique to shout at them. Good. I seriously could have died. Kakashi screamed with fire coming out of his mouth and in his eye. Then don't be late next time, and we won't lay out any traps. Your skills must seriously be lacking for a group of greenhorn genin to get one up on you, anyways. Sasuke told him, also not looking up from their game. Kakashi's eyebrow twitched once more. Alright, then. How about we do some introductions? Naruto and Sasuke both let out a sigh at the same time and packed away the cards. As the three got near Kakashi, he pulled out his beloved Ichi pair dice. While Sasuke and Hinata were ahead of Naruto, the blonde had stopped with a dark shadow covering his eyes. Kakashi-sensei, what is that in your hands? The blonde asked in a calm voice that sent shivers down both Sasuke and Hinata's spines. Oh, shit. Kakashi just had to be a fan of the one book series in the world that Naruto wishes to destroy. Sasuke thought with a mental roll of his eyes. Why, it's none other than Ichi, written by the great Jiraiya-sama of the Sannin. The Cycloptic replied happily. But Naruto then pulled a tanto off his back, turned it into a massive longsword, and set it on fire. Cause I'm gonna destroy every last one of those books. The blonde shouted, death in his eyes, as he raced toward the cursed waste of paper. Holy shit. Duck and cover, Hinata. Sasuke yelled, as he and the Hyuga heirs both jumped far away from the blonde streak of death. Kakashi looked like a boy who had just been caught by his mom sneaking out at night. His mother was a crazy-ass blonde with a massive flaming sword that wanted to destroy his book. Naruto managed to get close and slice Kakashi's book into pieces, only to find out that it had been replaced with a log. Sed was hiding with Sasuke and Hinata. Sensei, if you value your life and your manhood, you will never take that book out near Naruto again. Sasuke warned him. They then got up and shouted out to Naruto. It's alright. He promised to never take the book out near you again, alright. Naruto nodded and put away his sword. The four then joined together by the side of the roof. Alright, let's do some introductions. Smut Killer, you're first. Kakashi said, pointing meekly at Naruto. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. I like Hina-chan, Ani-san, Ramen, Aim-chan, Anko-chan, Haki, Dango, and watching clouds. My dislikes are rapists, perverts, Naruto said, looking pointedly at Kakashi. That smut which shall not be named, arrogant people, and animal abusers. My favorite food is ramen, it's like crack, I tell you. And my goals, hey, what the hell is that over there? Naruto asked, pointing to a strange pulsing ellipse that was in midair. I don't know. Kakashi said, rubbing the back of his cranium. Naruto began walking towards it. Little bro, whatever you do, don't touch, and of course, Naruto had touched it right then, causing him to disappear in a flash of light. Jinso suddenly appeared on scene. Fuck, he touched it, didn't he? The chocolate-haired god turned to Kakashi. We'll be back sometime. As the ellipse began to close, Jinso jumped straight through, sending him to a new place. On the other side of the portal, Naruto and Jinso both tumbled out onto a grassy field with a massive cherry blossom tree in the middle of it all. Damn it, Naruto, when I say don't touch it, you don't fucking touch it. Jinso yelled. Naruto got up with a sigh. Sorry. You know me, I'm very curious. Jinso nodded. Yeah, I do. Both of them then looked around. So where the hell are we, Ani-san? Jinso looked and saw floating scrolls with two wisps of fire beside each. He then wet one of his fingers and stuck it in the air for a few seconds. Jinso brought it down with a deadpan look as he said, shit, what? We're in a video game right now. Naruto facepalmed. Why must I be attracted to shiny and glowing objects? He moaned. Jinso then noticed one of the scrolls coming towards him. Naruto, stay back. What? Why? These scrolls contain powerful monsters. They're too much for you to handle, but they're a piece of cake for me. Now get back. Naruto leapt away right as the scroll made contact with Jinso, and the god met three blue imps. Well, looky here, boys, we got ourselves a meal. One of them cackled. Jinso merely smirked and drew his katana. Sorry, but this item is off the menu. He shouted, suddenly appearing behind an imp as it burst apart. Jinso then appeared behind another, and it burst apart. He finally positioned himself across from the last one, and then jumped high, bringing the blade down right in the imp's forehead. The barrier then dispelled. For some reason, he heard a wolf and a squeaky voice. The god turned his head to see none other than Akami Amaterasu running up with Isin on her head. Suddenly, the sun goddess was stopped by a shout from Isin, which sounded something like, "This guy doesn't look too friendly, Ami. You better be careful." Jinso turned around to face them, holding his katana by his side. Immediately, Amaterasu got ready to fight, and Isin said, "Let's show him not to mess with the sun goddess." Jinso merely flicked the mint green blood off of his blade, and sheathed it. This confused Ami and Isin, who said, "He's not gonna fight." Jinso crossed his arms. "Come on out, Naruto. It's safe now." The duo looked to see a blonde 12-year-old with 6 whisker marks on his cheeks come out from behind a boulder. The teen then turned his attention back to Amaterasu. He studied the wolf, his eyes drifting up and down across Ami. "Something wrong, kid?" Isin asked. Jinso's eyes then looked right at the punkle. "Nothing is wrong, Isin." Isin and Ami immediately paled. "How do you know my name?" the chivalrous pervert said. Jinso folded his arms across his chest. "I know all, grandson of Ishaku, like that the brilliantly white wolf you are standing on is the goddess Amaterasu, and how you are on a quest to gather the 13 brush god techniques." Also that a flamboyant town master who speaks gratuitous French and constantly aggravates you and me both is going to arrive in exactly 3.52 seconds. 3.52 seconds later. Hark! The call of the heavens, the earth, the sea, they summon me forth to defeat evil. Waka, the god's gift to man, is here. Bonjour. The half-baked prophet announced as he landed atop the guardian sapling. He looked to see Jinso with Ami, Issen, and Naruto, and Jinso's right eye was twitching. Who's your new friend, Machiri? Jinso slowly drew his katana out of his sheath before he let out a roar of fury. I'm the guy who's gonna make you pay for forcing me to suffer 15 gameplay hours of almost non-stop, gratuitous Frenchy bullshit. He then pointed the katana at Waka and leaped towards the girly man. Better whip out your lightsaber, BISHIE1, cause this is gonna hurt. My, how angry you are. Waka said, as he dodged Jinso's attack. They landed on the ground, crouched, and ready to fight. Jinso then laughed at Waka's statement once he landed. Oh, trust me, this is mere annoyance. Now, that being said, let us fight like true swordsmen. He stated. Waka glided down, doing a mid-air pirouette. Indeed, Machiri. Let us fight like warriors, not brutes. The town master replied. On guard. Jinso mocked, leaping forward with the intent to stop Waka from drawing pillow talk. And it worked, as he was so fast that Waka was literally slammed into the barrier that somehow surrounded the fight as it did for all fights and received a nasty bump on his head that started bleeding. Amazingly, the slam broke one of the 3 weak spots in the barrier, and it dispelled. Whoa, the half-baked prophet got banged up real good. Issen exclaimed. Jinso sheathed his sword with a flourish, and went over to Waka, who was holding his injured head. Need a hand, Machiri? He asked jokingly, extending his arm. Waka grasped his hand, and stood up. I must admit, that was quite the fight if you could call it that, no? The town master commented. Indeed it was. Jinso's view then shifted to Amaterasu and Issen, who were being stared at by Naruto. Naruto, stop staring at the wolf and the little man on her head, you're making them uncomfortable. He barked. Naruto immediately stopped. I just wanted to know why the wolf has weird red markings and a flaming mirror on its back, that's all. They replied in a whiny voice. Wait, kid, you can see Ami's markings. Issen questioned. Yeah, so? Naruto replied with a snort. Jinso facepalmed. Naruto, the wolf is a freaking god. That's why she has markings and a flaming mirror. Oh, that makes much more sense. Jinso's palm once more introduced itself to his forehead. Anyways, can we hang with you two for a bit? We're really far from home, and we gotta figure out a way to get back. I don't know, Issen replied, trying to find a way to get out of the situation. Naruto, do it. Jinso suddenly said, snapping his fingers. Naruto formed a hand seal, and shouted, no jutsu. The cloud of smoke enveloped him, clearing to show a hot, nearly naked woman with smoke trailing over the NC-17 rated areas, if you know what I mean. Holy smokes, Issen mumbled, falling off of Amaterasu's head and onto the ground in a daze. Naruto transformed back into his regular self, and Jinso asked, so what do I say? Heck yes. Issen instantly replied, shooting up onto Tammy's head. Now then, Mr. Flamboyancy, off with you. Jinso said comically while making a shooing motion at Waka, not caring about anything the town master said. The group began walking around aimlessly. Why? Because it's what you do when you are in a video game and have nothing to do. So if the wolf's a god, then shouldn't you two be bringing down divine justice or something? Naruto asked out of nowhere. Amaterasu and Issen suddenly stopped in place. Well, you're gonna answer me or what? Naruto then questioned, getting annoyed by their silence. Jinso placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder and squeezed it tightly. Looks like we still have to work on your patience when we get home. They told him. Jinso then turned to the duo. Even though my friend here is a bit impetuous in his questioning, he does have a point. If you're a god, shouldn't you be doing a certain job? He asked them. Amaterasu looked at Issen, and then at them. Follow me. The wolf said for the first time, surprising everyone but Issen. Amaterasu led them to Hana Valley, where they sat down underneath a tree. What would you like to know? She asked Jinso and Naruto. For starters, where the hell are we? The whiskered blonde asked. Jinso gave him a look that told him to stop the cursing. You two are in a place known as Nippon, the land of mortals. You met us in Shinshu Field. Issen answered. Okay, then another question. What are you the god of? Naruto then asked Amaterasu. First of all, I am not a god. I am a goddess, young man. I am Akami Amaterasu, goddess of the sun. Alright. And who are you? The blonde then asked Issen. I'm Issen, the wandering artist, and the seventh celestial envoy of the brush gods. Brush gods? This time Jinso answered him. The brush gods are the 13 gods of the zodiac. Each god has rule over a specific part of nature, and many tales and myths involve them. The brush gods were originally one god, but that one god died, and its power was separated into 13 different entities. Each brush god can grant their powers to anyone they find worthy of using them, with the powers ranging from controlling the elements to the very heavens themselves. Jinso replied. Amaterasu narrowed her eyes on this. How is it that you know so much about the deities of these lands if you claim to originate from elsewhere? She asked. I would rather not say for fear of you not believing me at all. Jinso told them with a sigh. Oh, come on. I'm a living being, as tall as your thumb that is sitting on top of a wolf that is a goddess. You honestly think I wouldn't even consider whether or not what you would say is true? The punkle asked with a laugh. You sure you want to tell them, Nai-san? Naruto asked him. Jinso nodded. They told us about themselves, it's only fair we do the same. He said, standing up from his spot. My name is Jinso. What I'm about to tell you sounds like it would be out of a fairy tale. I come from a different universe in of itself, and in that universe I am the highest deity in existence. I rule over all heaven and earth there, and I have almost never interfered in the world's affairs. I would only do so if it was to be needed, which was almost never. However, I did so 3 years back, in order to help out my friend here. Jinso gestured to Naruto to tell his story. You see, I am what is known as a, which means power of human sacrifice, a sick title given to people who hold and/or hold demons inside of them. The land I come from is known as the Elemental Nations. It is composed of many provinces that are named after elements themselves. The 5 major villages of the nations are Konohagakure, Iwagakure, Kamagakure, Sunagakure, and Kurigakure, and each village has 1 or 2 residents of the total 9. There is also a village called Takigakure which has 1. Back when the hidden villages were not founded, a man named the Rakuto Sennin, sage of 6 paths, became the first of the Jubi, the 10-tailed demon, by sealing it into himself. The Jubi was the first of the Biju multi-tailed demons who roamed the lands. On his deathbed, the Rakuto Sennin used the last of his energy to split the Jubi's energy into 9 different beings, all having multiple tails. The beings were known as the Biju-tailed beasts, and were labeled the Chibi, 1 tail, Nibi, 2 tails, Sanbi, 3 tails, Yonbi, 4 tails, Gobi, 5 tails, Rakubi, 6 tails, Nanabi, 7 tails, Hachibi, 8 tails, and Kyubi, 9 tails. The number of tails of Biju had meant how strong it was in this sort of ranking system. The Chibi was the weakest, and Kyubi was the strongest. The Biju have had multiple vessels in the past, as means to be controlled for war. Jinchuriki are not well liked in most of the villages, with the only major exceptions being Kumo, Kiri, and Taki. On the day I was born, the Kyubi, which was the strongest of the Biju, attacked my home, Konoha, under the control of a madman who hypnotized it for revenge. My father, the village leader, had no choice but to seal it into his only son, as a newborn baby's non-developed core would be able to slowly adapt to the Kyubi's, or demonic energy. My father did not have the will to ask another parent to give up their child instead of his own, so he put the village before his family. His dying wish was for me to be seen as a hero for keeping Kyubi at bay. But he was too naive to realize that Konoha was full of bigots and morons. For 9 years, I suffered abuse and isolation at the hands of most of the entire village. People beat me, they overpriced me for rotten food and useless tools, they kept their children away from me at all costs, and they called for my death multiple times. The blonde said, clenching his fists in anger. Isun was shocked beyond all words, and Amaterasu had tears streaming down her face. I barely had any friends until I was 6, when the owners of a ramen stand found me half dead in the snow, and took me in to heal me. They were the first people besides the village's leader, some of the civilians, and some of the Anbu, an elite squad of shinobi who protect the village's leader, to care for me, and be nice to me without any intention of harming me. When I was 7, I met the love of my life in the park. She was being bullied by 3 other kids for always being shy around other people. I ran right over and punched the shit out of them, telling them to leave her alone, or else. I instantly fell in love with her, and she felt the same way. The reason she was always so shy was because she came from a prestigious clan of people with the same special ability, and most of them had a stick shoved up their asses. Their father was always hard on her, calling her weak and making her fight her own sister, but apparently it was because he didn't want the elders of the clan to brand her with a horrible seal, and put her in the branch family of the clan, who were essentially slaves in almost every sense of the word to the main branch. When I was 8, I met my friend Shino. He was from a clan that had a bond with special bugs that lived inside of him. His clan was always considered freaks like me for that, so we instantly became best friends. Then when I was 9, Jinso Nai saved me from what would have been my sure death at the hands of a mob. He stopped the final blow, and killed everyone in the mob. Then he gave me a bunch of gifts that really made my day. He also gave me a companion to be with me, and has been living with me ever since. Said companion began snuggling around in Naruto's kimono, and then poked her head out with a Q-tip. Megumi hopped out of Naruto's kimono, and landed on the ground, her 3 tails waving in the air behind her. Is it a kitsune? Isun asked wearily. Yeah. Why are you asking? Naruto replied, putting Megumi back inside his kimono. It's just that we had a run-in with a 9-tailed kitsune a few years back. She killed the queen of Nippon, and possessed a priestess's body. Naruto's mind went blank for a few seconds. 9-tailed kitsune. Rika-chan, was it you? The blonde asked his tenant. No way, Naruto-kun. I have never been here in my life, I swear. Rika replied, waving her hands in a no-way motion. The duo looked over at Naruto, seeing a multitude of emotions crossing his face. Hey, kid, you alright? Isun asked. Naruto's eyes turned back to them. Yeah, I'm fine. He quickly replied, keeping his eyes away from them. Anyways, do you two have any more questions? Amaterasu then asked them. Just one. Why are you two down here if one of you is a god? Jinso questioned. I should explain. High above these lands, there is a place called the Celestial Plain. It is home to the 13 brush gods, and myself. Earlier today, we all felt a disturbance in the properties of time and space. We were thinking of whom to send to investigate the disturbance, and I realized that I could visit all my old friends, Enisin. So I volunteered. That is how we found you two. She explained. I see. That must be why my abilities are not working. Jinso muttered. What do you mean? Isen asked him. As you might know, there is no such thing as a perfect defense, correct? Seeing their nods, he continued. That means everything has a weakness, even gods. My abilities are all regulated by the space-time continuum. If there is a disturbance in it, I lose a few of my abilities. I can still teleport, levitate, etc., but I cannot open a wormhole if my abilities are messed up. If my abilities were not screwed up right now, I could have opened a portal that would have led me and Naruto back home. But I can't, and the only way to get my abilities back is to find out what is causing the disturbance and stop it. Jinso finished. So all we gotta do is find out what's messing with stuff it shouldn't be. That'll be easy. There hasn't been any major signs of evil in the land for about 3 years. Isen replied. Suddenly, Jinso and Amaterasu both perked their heads up and looked around before turning to each other. You sense that, right? Jinso asked her. Yes. There seems to be a fervent wave of evil energy coming from the north. Amaterasu said. Wait, there's something evil in Kamui. Isen asked. It feels so familiar, but I cannot quite place it. Naruto stood up. Then that's where we're going to Bayo. He shouted. The group cheered and began running towards the north. Kamui. The group got out of the observatory and was immediately blinded by a snowstorm. JJG's, it's cold. Isen exclaimed. We're gonna need to find a place to stay until this blizzard ends. Naruto agreed. Then let's get moving. Jinso finished. Amaterasu began leading them towards Oki's house, only to find the Oinous swordsman surrounded by at least 50 various Namage. Oki? Amaterasu exclaimed. Isen tried to pull her back, but he was flung off. Jinso caught the little poncle and gave him to Naruto. I need you to watch over Isen until Amaterasu and I get back, okay? Got it, Nai-san. You can count on me. The blonde replied. Jinso gave a happy nod and began running towards Oki. Amaterasu leapt right into the fray, tearing at the monsters. Amaterasu? Is it you? Oki asked, not believing his eyes. The one and only Oki. She replied, cleaving another Namage in half with Power Slash. The dark shadow leapt up amongst the cliffs and began springing between them. It launched itself high and then landed right next to Oki, turning out to be Jinso. Amaterasu joined them, the two forming a barrier to protect Oki. So these are the punks that have been ravaging Kamui? Jinso asked. Yes, they are. Those are known as Namage. Amaterasu replied. Well then, let's show 'em what we're made of. They replied, throwing his sword in the air and pulling out 2 semi-automatic pistols. He leaned over a bit and his katana slid right into its sheath. Amaterasu roared at the Namage and the two of them charged. Amaterasu took half of the Namage while Jinso took the others. Amaterasu's fight. Amaterasu equipped Solar Flare for this fight and immediately charged her group. In the first few seconds, 6 Namage had been killed after being bashed over the head with a reflector. Utilizing Galestorm, she continuously collected demon fangs from the monsters. After finishing off the entire group, Amaterasu looked over where Jinso was. I think I'll go watch over Oki. She said to herself. Jinso's fight. He launched himself right over the group of Namage, rapidly firing bullets into the crowd of monsters. I wouldn't even need my guns for this fight. He muttered happily, putting away the pistols. The Namage took this time to launch their signposts at him. With Oki and Amaterasu. Amaterasu had helped Oki stand up on one leg. His left ankle was broken, and he had broken his whole left arm. Thank you, panned Amaterasu. I think I would have been finished if you and that young man hadn't rescued me. The Oinu warrior told her. It was nothing, merely just helping out an old friend. She replied. Who is that young man anyways? He seems to be a bit underdressed to be in Kamui. Oki asked. I think he'll be fine. From what I can tell, he gasped Jinso. Amaterasu suddenly cried out, seeing the Namage throw all of their signs at him. Back with Jinso. Smirking, Jinso raised his right hand so that the palm faced the monsters. Don't you all know the saying? He asked, as the posts continued to move. What goes around the signs quickly stopped in the air right in front of him, floating there. Jinso then exerted a wave of energy from his palm, pushing the signs back while saying, come around. The signs bashed into their owners, sending the Namage flying. Jinso held his hand in the air and moved it down, creating a katana with pure energy and solidifying it. He then held it behind him in a stance and disappeared with a sonic boom. The Namage that were in the air froze up and then exploded in a shower of monster blood, with Jinso reappearing right behind them. He was then splattered with their mint green blood. Snapping his fingers, the blood vanished from the Chokinet's jeans. He then ran over to Oki. You alright? Jinso asked him. Oki groaned as the god held him up. I'll be fine. What is your name, young warrior? Oki asked him, turning his head to the side to speak. My name is Jinso. He replied. Well, then groan thank you, Jinso, for helping me. It's no problem. Why don't we go inside so everyone can get warm? Jinso asked him, calling Naruto over. The group all went inside Oki's house and dried off. A few minutes later, Megumi had wrapped herself up in her tails and was sleeping next to the fire. Everyone else was sitting around the fire themselves, drinking hot tea. Amaterasu and Jinso had dressed Oki's wounds and put his broken limbs into casts so that they could heal. What happened before we arrived, Oki? From what I've seen, monster attacks have been very rare in the past few years, and for you to be cornered by 50 of them is most unusual. Amaterasu asked him. I was visiting the other one at Wapkir when I felt a blast of dark energy. The damage came charging from inside of Yashvi. I was trying to defend Wapkir while everyone got to safety, but there were too many of them. That was when you four arrived. He replied, holding his broken arm. They came from Yashvi. How is that possible if no beast or half-beast can keep their bearings for more than 10 minutes maximum in there? Issen asked him. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Yashvi? What the heck is that? The blonde asked. Yashvi is known to my people as the Forest of Confusion. The trees inside it produce pollen that can cloud the senses of any beast. If a beast were to go inside of Yashvi, it would have, at the most, 10 minutes to find safety before it completely loses its bearings and ends up starving or freezing to death. Oki told him. Geez, that sucks. Naruto commented. Yeah, but that's not even the worst part. Issen replied. You kidding, right? Naruto asked him warily. Not a chance. They say that there is a secret part of Yashvi that almost nobody has ever ventured into, and those who managed to enter it never came back. The punkle said fearfully. Okay, now you've got me interested. Jinso told him, watching intently. A long time ago, when Nippon first began, there was a RMNIN1 who traveled the lands, documenting everything he came across. No one ever knew his real name, but he came to be called the Historian, for he wrote the beginnings of Japan's history. One day, the Historian was in Kamui when he came upon Yashvi. Naturally, the Historian was curious. Issen began. He managed to venture to a deep part of Yashvi, where the Spirit Gate stands. Seeing no other path, he turned to venture out of the forest. But suddenly, a spirit, black as night, came forth from the bushes. It beckoned him forward through an unseen path. The Historian followed the spirit deeper into the forest, where the sun's light barely shone. He came upon a hole in the ground, acrid purple smoke rising from its depths. Carefully, the Historian ventured down the hole and landed on a platform. Almost immediately, a giant monster appeared and attacked the Historian. As he was zoomed in, the Historian vanquished the monster and cleared the hole of the smoke. When he did so, a tunnel appeared, leading him to a vast wealth of treasure. But it is said that a terrible dragon guarded the treasure, judging all who found him, and those who could not prove themselves worthy were killed on the spot. The travelers who found him had to prove their worth through a riddle that the dragon provided. Many have ventured forth to claim the treasure, but it is said that only the Historian was worthy of doing so. Years later, a man by the name of Ryaoshi, Hunter, appeared before the dragon. Ryaoshi had failed the dragon's test, and was supposed to be killed by the dragon. But somehow, he managed to escape its awful wrath, and hid for the rest of his life. The dragon, furious at not killing an unworthy person, clawed its way out of the hole, and ravaged that part of Yashvi. It then lived in that area, ready to kill all who angered it. Legends abound of this dragon, but they all end with the same saying. When the moon is shadowed on the night it turns blue, the dragon shall emerge from its home, and walk among mortals for a single night. Issen finished his tale, letting silence stick in the air. Wait, it said when the moon is shadowed, right? Doesn't that mean a lunar eclipse? Naruto asked. Jinso nodded. A regular lunar eclipse can cause the moon's appearance to turn red like blood, but when a blue moon is eclipsed, the appearance can change depending on your viewpoint. Tsue, they replied. Well, it's a good thing that an eclipse of a blue moon only happens 11 times every 1,000 years, or we'd be in trouble too. Issen remarked happily. Suddenly, a massive roar made everyone stop in their tracks and look out of the window. Something from deep inside Yashvi was breathing fire into the sky, while the eclipse of a blue moon shone brightly. Motherfucker! Naruto yelled. You just had to type that in. You just had to fucking type that in. Right, as he finished saying it. You suck. You suck. Author. You fucking son of a bitch. God damn it. Can't I get a motherfucking break from this shit, you jackass? The blonde roared, pointing at the sky. Jinso put his hand on Naruto's shoulder and squeezed tightly. Naruto, as much as I would love to punch the real version of me in the face, we aren't allowed to break the fourth wall just yet. Issen snorted. Too late for that. You really need more self-control, kid. The punkle said. I agree. The young boy should have more control over himself. It would not do him well to be easily angered in the future. Amaterasu concurred. Sadly, we have no time to yell at my real self, for the type stream is commanding us to go fight the dragon. Jinso told him. The fuck is that? Naruto asked bluntly. You know the Matrix trilogy, right? Yeah. The type stream is the author's version of the Matrix, with a few tweaks here and there. What kind of tweaks? He can use it to make you do something. Suddenly, a breeze rolled in, and everyone heard a voice. That's damn right, Blondie. Now if you don't go kill that motherfucking dragon, I'm gonna kill you off, and give your harem to Rock Lee. The voice said angrily. You wouldn't. Naruto exclaimed in horror. Believe me, bitch, I would. Now get your whiskered ass over there. With that, the breeze was gone, and the voice had left them. Well, let's get going. Jinso said after an awkward silence. Thanks for watching my video, leave a like if you enjoyed my video, and also do consider subscribing to my channel for more awesome content. See you next time, till then sayonara.